The agent slides a photograph across the table. You look at it. A server room, clean, organized, somewhere in Eastern Europe. He says, that network processed $400 million in a single night, routed through 11 countries. Untraceable. The team that did it never left their building. You say nothing. He leans forward. We know who trained them. We know who built the methodology. We think you know too. You look at the photograph for a long time. You do know, because you were in that building 3 years ago. Desk 7, second row from the window. You remember the night that operation ran. You remember the team lead walking between the desks at 2 in the morning, not saying anything, just watching the numbers move. You remember thinking you were doing something that mattered. The agent is still watching you. You slide the photograph back across the table. You say, I was 12 years old when they found me. I did not choose any of this. He says, I know. That is why you are sitting on this side of the table. This is how it ends. Now, let us go back to how it began. Level 1. The curious kid. You are 12 years old. It is past midnight. Everyone in the apartment is asleep. Your mother, your younger sister, your father, who wakes at 5 for the factory. You are watching a video on a borrowed phone with the brightness turned all the way down. The video is about how Wi-Fi works, not how to steal it, how it works. The mathematics underneath. The way data travels through air as invisible waves and gets encrypted and decrypted millions of times per second without anyone noticing. You watch it 3 times. You have always been good with computers in a quiet way. You understand how things connect. When something breaks, you do not panic. You investigate. You follow the logic until you find where it went wrong. You find more videos, then forums, then documentation written in languages you do not fully speak yet, so you learn enough of the language to read the documentation. You are 12 years old, and you are learning a language most people do not know exists. Not a spoken language, a systems language, the language of how things are built and where the cracks are. You are not thinking about crime. You are thinking about puzzles. The whole thing is one enormous interlocking puzzle, and you want to understand all of it. That is all it is at 12. Curiosity. A kid who wants to understand how things work. Level 2. The first hack. You are 14 years old. You have crossed a line you did not announce crossing. It happened gradually. Understanding the tools led to wanting to test them. Testing them in controlled environments led to wondering if they worked in real environments. Wondering led to trying. Trying led to the evening you sat at your desk and pointed everything you had learned at your neighbor's wireless network and watched it open. You did not do anything with the access. You got in. You confirmed you were in. You got out. Your friend Chul is sitting beside you. He says, "You are actually insane. How did you do that?" You say, "The encryption protocol has a weakness in the handshake. I just asked the right question." That feeling. That is the thing you were not prepared for. Not pride exactly. Something more specific. The feeling of a system designed to keep people out opening for you because you understood something about it that other people did not. The asymmetry of it. The whole world walking past a locked door and you knowing where the key is kept. The school network next. A simple exploit the administrator had not patched. You are inside in 20 minutes. You find nothing interesting. Administrative files, records, nothing that matters. You leave without touching anything. But you were there. Level 3. The selected. You are 15 years old. You do not know that your teacher filed a report 6 weeks ago. You do not know that the report described your abilities in specific technical language a teacher without specialist training should not have known to use. Someone gave him the language. Someone has been looking. You are sitting in class on a Tuesday when the principal opens the door and says your name. There is a man in the administrative office. Dark jacket. Notebook he is not writing in. He is watching you walk through the door. He says, "Sit down." You sit. He says there is a school, not like this one. The students there are selected. Not many are selected. The ones who are selected do not come back to schools like this one. You say, what kind of school? He says, the kind that takes what you already are and makes it into something the country can use. You say, do I have a choice? The man closes the notebook. He says, your country has invested a great deal in finding you. That is not really a question that applies here. He stands. He says, your mother will be informed. You will have 2 days at home. Then someone will come for you. He walks out. You sit in the chair for a long moment. The principal does not look at you. You were 15 years old, and a man in a dark jacket just described the rest of your life in 4 sentences. You did not choose this. You did not apply. You did not raise your hand. You were found, and in this country, being found is the same as being taken. Level 4, the compound. You are 16 years old. The school looks like a university. Clean buildings, 40 students in your intake year, all of them quiet in the way that people are quiet when they are paying attention to everything. Your instructor says, you were not sent here because you are smart. Many people are smart. You were sent here because you think in a specific way. You see systems. You find weaknesses. That mind belongs to the state now. You sit in the 3rd row and write that down. The curriculum is unlike anything you encountered before. Cryptography, network architecture, foreign language immersion, social engineering, operational security. Every subject taught, not as theory, but as application. Not how does this work, but how do you use this against a target? The word target appears in the first week, casually, the way a cooking class uses the word heat. Family visits are permitted once every 3 months. Your mother comes the first time. She holds your hand across a table while a supervisor sits in the corner pretending to read. She glances at him, then back at you. She says very quietly, make them proud of you. Whatever they ask, make them proud. You understand what she is not saying. Her life, your father's, your sister's, all of it arranged around the answer to that instruction. You say, I understand. She nods. She does not cry. She is too careful to cry in this room. You watch her leave and sit with the understanding that the chain around you is not around your wrist. It is around theirs. Level 5. The believer. You are 18 years old. Graduation is not a ceremony. It is a briefing. You sit with 11 other students who made it through 3 years. You started as 40. Nobody explained what happened to the others. One boy named Jong was there one morning and gone by afternoon, and his name was never spoken again. A senior officer stands at the front. He has the stillness of a man who has made many decisions and lived with all of them. He says, what you do is called cyber warfare. It is as legitimate as any other form of national defense. The enemies of this country have built their power on financial systems, digital infrastructure. Your job is to reach inside those systems and take back what was taken from us. You are sitting in the 2nd row and you believe him. Not because you are naive, because the belief has been built carefully over 3 years, layer by layer. By the time the last brick goes in, you do not see a wall being constructed, you just see a wall. He says, you are not doing this for money. You are doing this for the 25 million people who cannot do it themselves. You write that down too. Level 6. The first operation. You are 20 years old. Your target is a cryptocurrency exchange in South Korea. Your handler gives you a folder. Inside is everything: infrastructure, employee names, email patterns, security protocols. Someone spent months building this picture before it reached you. He says, find the door, open it, hand us the key. What happens after is not your concern. You spend 6 weeks on reconnaissance. You find your door, a senior developer who works late, orders the same food delivery 3 times a week, uses his work email for personal subscriptions. A man with habits. Habits are doors. You craft an email that looks like it comes from his wallet provider, a routine security verification, a link, a form. He fills it out at 11:17 on a Wednesday night. You are in. You move through the exchange's systems quietly. You reach the access your handler asked for. You hand over the credentials. Your handler says, "Clean work." $48 million leaves the exchange over the following 72 hours. You find the number from a foreign news report you are not supposed to be reading. You sit with it. You tell yourself it is not theft. You tell yourself it is reallocation, the language your training gave you for the feeling you are having. The language works. For now. Level 7, the Lazarus Room. You are 22 years old. You are moved to a room with no windows, 40 desks in 4 rows, the best people you have ever been in a room with. Your team lead is a woman named Sue. She does not introduce herself. You learn her name from the person beside you. She walks between the desks twice a day and does not speak unless something is wrong. On your 3rd day, she stops at your desk. She says, "You are being too careful." Careful leaves patterns. Patterns leave traces. Move like you belong there. You say, "How do you move like you belong somewhere you are not supposed to be?" She says, "You stop thinking of it as somewhere you are not supposed to be." 3 months in, you understand the scale of what this room does. Not from being told, from watching. Banks in Europe, defense contractors in the United States, financial infrastructure across Southeast Asia. This room is not a defensive operation. This is not taking back what was taken. This room is the regime's primary revenue stream. You think about the officer at your graduation, his certainty, the 25 million people who cannot do this themselves. You think about what $48 million from a cryptocurrency exchange actually funds. You start doing arithmetic you were never supposed to do. Level 8. The consequences. You are 24 years old. You find a document you were not meant to find. The money that leaves through your operations does not disappear. It moves through shell companies, through intermediary exchanges. You follow it the way you follow any system, step by step, until you find where it goes. Weapons programs, specific ones, with names and development stages and projected capabilities. You sit at desk 7, 2nd row from the window, at 2 in the morning, and you feel the belief that was built so carefully over so many years develop a fracture that runs all the way through it. You think about your instructor, the mind that belongs to the state now. You think about your mother, make them proud, whatever they ask. You think about the developer who ordered the same food 3 times a week, who filled out a form at 11:17 on a Wednesday night and never knew what walked through the door he opened. You close the document. Then you open the next assignment because the work crowds out the thinking. But the thinking is still there underneath. It will always be there underneath. You have put something in yourself that does not come back out. Level 9. The surveillance. You are 26 years old. A man named Jin sat 3 desks to your left for 4 years. Not your friend exactly, but the person you ate lunch with. The person who once said quietly, "Do you ever think about what it would be like to just stop?" You said, "Stop what?" He said, "All of it." You looked at him. You said, "No." That was 7 months ago. This morning, Jin's desk is empty. Monitor off. Chair pushed in. Nothing on the surface. Not a cup. Not a cable. It looks like the desk of someone who was never there. Sue walks past it without looking at it. Not the way you look past something you did not notice, the way you look past something you have been told not to notice. Nobody mentions Jin. That evening, you do the calculation you have been avoiding for 2 years. Defection. The word sits in your mind like a stone. You think about the surveillance infrastructure you helped build. You think about what happened to the people who tried, what happened to their families. You think about your mother, your sister, the child you have met twice. You think about Jin's empty desk. You do not sleep. You do not make a decision. But for the first time, you understand that the door exists, even if you cannot see the handle. Level 10, the after. You are 30 years old. The agent slides the photograph back into his folder. He says, "The cooperation you have provided over the past 18 months has been significant. The individuals identified, the infrastructure mapped, the operations disrupted." You say, "And my family." He says, "The arrangements are in place. The process is not fast, but it is in motion." He says, "I want to ask you something not part of the official debrief. If you could go back to the 12-year-old with the borrowed phone, what would you tell him?" You think for a long time. You say, "Nothing." He looks at you. You say, "There is nothing I could tell him that would have changed it. The system was already looking for him before he picked up that phone. The curiosity was just how they found him. They would have found another way." You pause. You say, "That is what nobody understands." You think it starts with a choice. It does not start with a choice. It starts with where you are born. He says, "What happens now? For you." You look out the window. A different city. A life that does not have a shape yet. You say, "I have spent my entire life inside a system that told me what to do next. This is the first time there is no next instruction." He says, "That sounds like freedom." You say, "It sounds like standing in a room where all the walls have been removed. Maybe that is the same thing. I have not decided yet." You stand. You shake his hand. You walk out into a city that does not know your name. Somewhere right now, a 12-year-old in a dark apartment is watching a video on a borrowed phone with the brightness turned all the way down, learning how things work. Feeling the shape of a puzzle that seems to have no end. He does not know a system is already looking for exactly that quality in exactly the right child. He does not know that in this country, being found is the same as being taken. The door he is about to walk through has no handle on the inside, and he cannot see that yet, because the door looks so much like the beginning of something wonderful.